but my parents are in Canada for a reason that unfortunately hasn't gone away. And so I notice that there's a need for animation to help these voices come out, and a message that, you don't have to say, oh, what's the thing that has a message? You don't even have to be obvious about what that message is. It's the voice of the artist behind. Even someone like Pab, who's sitting outside, who's done these posters for us. I mean, I met him on the Quasset last year, on the ground, making posters, and he's been doing this for years. And we've invited him, Bruno, and we've invited him to join. So basically, yes, I see that animation is definitely a place where voices can come through and educate, absolutely, whatever the subject. And it doesn't have to be that, we don't have to be on point to be making a point, because there's many ways in which film and animation and art convey important communications, Morse code.
Well, maybe the next question to Ayman, and then the same question to Claude. As filmmakers, you engage with audiences with a specific language of your film, Bilal, Les Tuques, is not English or French, it's animation. So it has things that touch people in a different way, which is not the same part of the brain that you use when you talk in a conference, but maybe it's a juncture. So tell us about what you believe animation as a genre can convey or can help convey to do things well for social.
Well, to start with, I'm here by an accident. By profession, I'm a banker, and that was my profession. One day I came back home. I'm a movie lover. I watch a lot of movies, but by profession, I'm a banker. I came back home years ago, and my young son, 5 years old, was wearing Superman, and he wanted to fly. So as fun as it looks, it's scary because you might lose him. So it appeared to my mind, like, as adults, we get inspired by so many great movies such as Braveheart, Malcolm X, Gandhi. But as kids, if you search the net or if you search all the movies, I would say 99% fictional heroes. So we're selling fictional heroes to kids that we want them to look up to, which is a bit strange and weird. And it actually appeared to my mind to develop animation movie for kids. But what if we can do it based on true stories or inspired by true heroes that actually breathe the same air and go through the same challenges that our kids go through? So it appeared to my mind. We started the research, and basically I just fell in love with Bilal. I mean, everything in our production was odd. I mean, a banker doing a movie, one. Two, coming from a country that doesn't have a movie industry. Three, we don't have investment funds or communities for movies. Four, I remember when I pitched the script 3 years ago to a studio in the US, he said, but he's black. And it sounds funny, but it's the fact that most heroes in all animation movies are white. So it didn't fit any of the models, and to be honest, that was a challenge, but I think it made me more want to make this inspirational movie about Bilal, which is a real hero, and which is African, and it doesn't fit the model, and we're telling a real story. So I didn't think of it as a story that matters, but I wanted to actually deliver the same message, which is true hero, a true inspirational hero, and that's a true story that doesn't follow the animation model that everyone is following today.
Of course, yeah. Maybe you are a filmmaker wanting to deliver a story. You might want to use, now put the question to Michael also, you might want to use animation to convey things that are not outside of the entertainment world. I personally believe that animation will help tell things about, let's say, let's fight against tobacco, or easier than with actual images sometimes. I don't know whether you...
My little story about that is The film that we have done is a remake of a live-action film that was shot 30 years ago. So 30 years ago, we didn't say story the way we do today. Today, our children have an attention span, unfortunately, of a few seconds. They want the scene to go like this. They want the subject matters to be built in such a way. They want story structure. And there was a portion of the film that was extremely important to me, which was death. Nobody wants to talk of death to children. And I was fighting against this whole industry of distributors and sales agents, and they say, oh, we love your project, we love it, but the dog can die. And I'm saying, I'm sorry, if the dog doesn't die, I don't have a film. And I had to argue my way through until the moment when they saw the film, they cried, their children cried, but their children came to them and told them, this is like grandma. The dog is with grandma. All of a sudden, the child realized what exactly death was, which was totally abstract until it saw a dog die in a film. Every American distributor had told us, could the dog die in the beginning then? Because then the child will overcome. I said, I'm sorry, but the whole structure is the fact that there's a collateral to the story, because the story is about war. And if you are to address a subject as important as war, there's got to be collateral, otherwise you're not touching the real subject. All of that you would see my film, no one doubts when you look at the poster, when you look at the promo, the Americans do. Nobody talks of death in it, everybody thinks like they're having a great thing. But I saw the film with children. We were selected at Sundance, and I have to say, I was sitting in the room with a huge screening room full of children. They were sweeping, their hearts go out, and then what? I gave them snowballs just to have a war, like a real snowball fight war. They exploded. They had a chance to express what they felt about death, how to overcome it. It got out of hand. We found balls 3 days later everywhere where we were. But yet again, the truth is that we have to push to treat important subject. And I believe animation has that quality, is that you can bring to children things, and to parents, subject that matters. Again, sorry, I don't want to, it sounds like a pun, but and the proof was in that resistance of saying, no, it's going to stay in the film, and I believe, and today the film is sold worldwide. So there was a reason for it to stick to this, because it was important.
Is anyone from the USA in the audience? Who's from the USA? So we can say bad things. You didn't. Minority.
But I did not say bad things.
No.
What I meant. Okay.
Don't worry. I'll put the foot into it. What you tell us reminds me of a story I want to share. When I worked on the film Philadelphia, we had the Philadelphia by Yonathan and my bosses in the studio, I was running France for Sony, told me this is a movie, this is a courtroom drama. Lawyer fights against lawyer. Tom Hanks is a lawyer, he gets AIDS, dies, and he's fired, and he wants to revenge against his bosses. So that's what they were telling me, and I said, this is boring. This is not what the movie is about. You have to accept the fact that the film is about AIDS, homosexuality, difference, and living and recognizing, living together with things that you don't think is the same as what your natural tendency. So, and I had to fight against the studio. I won the fight by this margin, by telling them this film has a responsibility to open the eyes of many people that do not understand and all that. I'm very proud to say that I thought this was the movie, and Tom Hanks decided that he would give 1 year of his life to bring the cause. So the marketing behind this movie was a lot of things. For instance, working with Professor Montagnier, who invented the virus, who discovered the virus. A lot of eye-opening things, and the fact that the lawyer fights against the lawyer doesn't, but it's something that typical in the Americans, that way they did not know how to treat this movie. They brought all the stuff, all the crowd from the studio, from all around the key territories, and say, okay, that's our movie, we have no idea how we're going to market it. And so this is a safe place, tell what you think the movie is about. And I was obliged to say this is a movie about AIDS, but that's okay. In France we had we don't care about it's not a big thing to be, we don't feel gays as different people, it's just human beings. We don't care about AIDS. Plus we had the film that won César dealing with AIDS. So I'm telling you, that's a subject, that's how we're going to market it, sell it, and Tom Hanks did lots of things. So sometimes the Americans don't see, they're scared of something, like this is taboo, we cannot say, so let's try to find, and I believe the film has a truth, and it's your job when you're a marketing person to give that truth and to make it relevant. So I'm sorry, that has been long, but that's something very dear to me, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak about the film that matters, that's not animation. I'm sorry. Yonathan, maybe if we skip from animation for a moment, sorry, from film, entertainment, did you, in your dealings with people that have projects with non-profit organization and things like this, did you see things that tell you, oh yeah, they use animation, that it seems a smart thing, it produced that kind of result? Did you see anything?
Yeah. I think, like to give a little bit of perspective, because you didn't know what I'm doing, we have created a social network that connects more than 1,000 non-profits from all over the world, and connecting them with 250,000 global citizens that are moving forward in terms of change making. So it's that's basically what we do. We have artists, intellectuals joining as well the network and trying to build something, to build a positive change. So first of all, on animation, when you see what makes sometimes buzz in terms of awareness campaign, you see that a lot of them are related, to nice way to do animation, not in a gigantic, super effect stuff, but animation that put themselves, at the service of the message, and the message is about the reality, what you mentioned, till now, which is like the facts, the reality. And when we just share the reality as it is, yes, it's tough to hear. Yes, we have a trajectory as mankind that we know if we just think it a little bit, we see many challenges. But when we look at them, and when we look at them in a frank manner, in a genuine way, then we can start to think and start to working on the solutions. So animation can be very supportive in that way to put things in a very empirical manner, in a very, okay, I find it, and at the same time, the fact that it's animation make it, more digestible. When we are speaking about things that are very tough, very challenging, the animation still speak a little bit, to the consciousness, to the, the child part of us. So that's something where we can, convey some of the toughest message, and that's what you mentioned just before. It's about the message of death, which is not just message of death for death. It's the message of death for responsibility when we are alive, and when we are, alive as well, the legacy, what we have to share, what we have to give, to the new generation. And that is indeed a great way to be able, to convey and to give that opportunity to embrace what it means from a conceptual standpoint. Doing it, with animation is a way that will be, probably more easier, especially for the young generations, to absorb it and to think about it. And what I would like to add on that is, we spoke about, social media. We spoke, about the fact that everyone now is connected, whatever, etc. Well, we have never been, so connected, and at the same time, we have never been, so alone, so individualistic, so purely, based and focusing our energy on our own, agenda. So we see there is, a paradox there. There is even, it's almost oxymoric,
Yeah.
It's almost, like the negation of, the connection. And when we do, our initiatives, what we saw is actually, we can really connect to each other we can really leverage technology to share and connect, but at some point, we have to meet in real life. At some point, we have, to really be looking to listen to someone in front of us and say, okay, well, what are you doing? What is your passion? What is your, way to bring something to life? And that's about the inspiration. And in that particular regard, I definitely think that animation, as all forms of arts, all forms of, way to express, are definitely, some keys to open some doors of establishing real links, real social links between people, going beyond the boundaries and the frontiers, and looking at diversity from, like a wealth aspect. And I salute, the fact that indeed the hero is indeed, as it was in the story.
Yes.
He is an African. It would have been, just an absolute nonsense to make it, white, even if we had some white people in Africa, okay? But if he was black, and he was black, we have, to look at it that way. And that's about the wealth of the diversity. Everyone can bring on board something, and because we will look at it from facts, no bullshit, no hypocrisy, no all that, we will be, very strong, because we will know we are all together in the same boat, and that boat is about how we can build something more harmonious for everyone.
You're only strong when you're true.